It's a beautiful morning. Welcome to Atlantic Television Network. My name is Ekpo Temple. On today's edition of Sports Talk, Anthony Joshua presents autograph to Tinubu. Raducanu pulls out of Australian Open warm-up. And in football, Arsenal sink Brentford to strengthen EPL title chase. Details of this and many more will be yours shortly after now.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
the lines, across the ocean, to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara. We bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
All right, welcome back from that break. Joining me live this morning is Emmanuel Mike. Mike, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Temple. Good morning and bonnie to our viewers out there.
All right, let's start with volleyball. And the president of the Nigerian Volleyball Federation, Musa Nimrod, says that sport is a catalyst that propels all-round development in the country. Nimrod stated this in an interview with sports journalists in Yola at the closing ceremony of the maiden edition of Beach Volleyball Xmas Bank. He noted that sports is one factor that does not discriminate and provides economic security for the athletes, their families, and the community. Nimrod, who is also the president of the Confederation of African Beach Volleyball, commended Governor Ahmadu Umar Finitri for constructing the long-abandoned stadium along Newman Road in the state capital. He congratulated the Adamawa handball and Adamawa volleyball teams for gaining promotions to play in the just concluded Premiership and Nigerian Custom Volleyball Division 1 Premiership competition, and further urged the players to not to relent in their pursuit for stadium, stressing that there is so much to gain and achieve in this sports. Musa Nimrod making his New Year's speech in the ceremony attended.
Yeah, and some of these speeches are spot on for me. Sport is a very big industry, and one of the highest employer of labor. Much attention needs to be paid to sports, so as to use it as a tool to pull people off the street, to pull the young ones, because there are certain people that are very, very talented individuals, good in different sporting strata, but they don't have the basic facilities, they don't have the platform for them to use as a podium to get to achieve their aspiration and their dreams. Then the talent invested in them by God will be wasted. And of course, that is why it's very, very necessary that we use sport as a tool to also change the system, creating job opportunities. So for me, I truly agree with Mr. Nimrod. But sometimes you get to surprise that some of them manning different positions of authority in different sporting angle. When they make this kind of bold and very emphatic statements, you are forced to, think twice. You think twice in the sense that, so this individual truly understand that this is how this thing works. Yeah, but then they are occupying position of authority that they should have used, to also affect the system. They don't do it. But when they come to the media, they make bold statements, touch all the critical angles that need to be touched on the media. But in reality, they don't do that, even though they occupy a certain position that they would have used to also change the system. So I think many times for me, I will keep saying it, it goes beyond just coming to the media to make a bold statement and all of those rhetorics. It's about, working it out. Of course, we do understand that sport is one of the highest employer of labor. We do understand that much attention needs to be paid to sport. We do understand that facilities and infrastructures must be put in place. We understand that, but then can you actually be part of the driver that is going to actualize all of this? These are the big questions for me. So most time I don't even take some of these their statement very serious. Sometimes it is also hinged on political purpose on what they try to get, coming to the media to romance the media, to curry favor from the members of the public. This is what most times some of them do, because if you truly understand that this is how things work and you are in a position to also make it work, and you are not doing it, but you are good at coming to the media to explain how these things work, I mean, for me, it makes no sense. So, but then we can't throw away a baby with a bathing water. We need to also take what he has said and also work with it. And for the governor, talking about Finthiri, he's a sport-loving governor. I listened to his New Year message as well. He was also pointing to the finger that, in the state they want to use sport, as a means or a makeshift to also provide job opportunities for the teeming youth of that very state. And all hands must be on deck. The Commissioner of Sport in that very state as well should also do his own part of the job by collaborating with the governor, who is a sport-loving governor, to effectively see how all of these massive ideas can be further implemented.
Well said, yeah. Mike, I must say that that was very detailed, and I think that all of these put together, if some of the talks, media hypes, exaggerations are imputed into, I know it's difficult to really get it all right, okay, but if all these talks, are imputed as part of the targeted objectives of each of the federations, I'm very certain that we would have gone past the level of looking at minor issues and majoring on minor issues, whereas we should be talking about policy enhancement. Still talking about federations and preparations for the new year, the president of Nigerian Scrabble Federation, Engineer Toke Aka, says that the federation have lost a lot of reasons to celebrate the new year. Aka made this submission yesterday while offering insight into the progress made by Scrabble and the challenges faced along with plans for this year 2025. I want to quote what he said. He said, "We thank God for a wonderful festive season and for the growth of the mind game this year. We are committed to continuing this development in the coming years." End of quote. He also further said that we are grateful to God for the successes recorded during the African Scrabble Championship in Kigali, Rwanda. At the African Scrabble Championship, Team Nigeria took the top honors in all the categories, including the side event, and the NSF was able to activate all its program for last year. Meanwhile, 2025 is loaded with 6 major competitions which Team Nigeria has the obligation to attend. They are the World Youth Scrabble Championship in Australia, Africa Youth Scrabble Championship in Nairobi, Kenya, and then the Panasal President Cup. Others are West African Scrabble Championship, the MGI World Team Championship in Accra, Ghana, and the World activities. So a lot of activities that underlines the Scrabble Federation, and the man is saying we are urging players and sportsmen and women, including officials, to avoid behaviors that could drive away sponsors and friends. So for them, the focus is all we have in plans this year. We want to achieve it.
I think it's a good plan. As the new year comes by, new resolution, new idea will be crafted. People will be thinking outside the box on what they need to do to better the system. It's a good one. And just like the French will say that voice populi, voice de Yahweh, invariably meaning that a voice of the people is a voice of God. And the people have pointed out that these are things that we truly need to do in order for us to move forward, and he has also re-echoed that voice of the people by also making such statement. I think for me, for Scrabble, we still need to do a lot because we are way backward in terms of the development of the sport, and the reason is not far from the truth that sports, most time we try to pay much attention per se to the father of all sport or king of all sport, talking about football. That is what is obtainable in this part of the climb. That sport that look as though it is not that lucrative, people don't pay much attention to it, and that is why it look as though he's suffering. But if there's anything to go by from what he has said, we are very hopeful that as the new year kickstarts, we're going to see a new changes, a new ideas, a new way of doing things, so that we can actually get to that place of Scrabble development where we can beat our chest and say, yeah, we are among the committee of nation in terms of Scrabble playing nation, and the sky will just be our starting point. But then we need to put in the work.
We need to put in the work. The sky certainly is our starting point. Moving on, two-time heavyweight champion, boxing champion Anthony Joshua visited President Bola Tinubu at his residence in Lagos State yesterday. During the visit, Joshua presented Tinubu with an autograph glove with the inscription to the great Asiwaju Jagaban, Bogul of Africa, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The Nigerian-born British boxer is in the country for the festive period and had a few days ago visited Ogun State Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun. Mike, if I expected it personally, so when I saw this news, I wasn't surprised because I feel that even the level of Anthony Joshua is so that he can even visit if we have anything like African president. He has that aura. He has gotten to that level when he comes around. So I was wondering, will he visit Tinubu before he leaves? And that certainly that has been done. Presented an autograph glove to him.
Yeah, it's not surprising that he came into town and to also fraternize with his people, his family, extended relations, and all of that. But they say charity begins at home. He went straight to the hilltop mansion at Ogun State, at Abeokuta to be precise, to also pay a visit to the governor of the state, talking about Prince Dapo Abiodun, where he also displayed his rich cultural sense of understanding by also portraying, signaling the Yoruba culture, the way they greet, and all of that. At that meeting with Prince Dapo Abiodun, he was also endowed or crowned as the sport ambassador of Ogun State. Fast forward, the governor of the state used the opportunity to also ask that they want to light up, the lights for the National Sport Festival that Ogun State will be hosting, tag the gateway again from then, and then they moved on to, Aso Rock to visit Mr. President, which for me I think is just traditional. That he comes into town, heavyweight boxer, such man that have made names and fame for himself and for British. But then again, if you also remember that each time he's been introduced on the ring, he will be introduced as a British boxer of Nigerian descent. And so that is no surprise that he came into the country and decided to visit Mr. President. It's just traditional for me, and I think it was a massive one. Anthony Joshua really trying his best in order to also show the other side of him that east, west, north, or south, home is the best, and that is why he has decided among every other place, that he should have been somewhere at the Caribbean.
Yeah, exactly, enjoying himself.
But he deemed it necessary to come back home to also, fraternize with his people. I think for me, it's a very, very thoughtful of Anthony Joshua.
Very thoughtful of Anthony Joshua, but let's move on now, and of course, more stories to still talk about. And with this visit, I'm just wondering, apart from visiting, Nigeria, what other thing, do you think he should be at the back of his mind going into this year?
It's very simple. As a genius, a sport figure, boxing for that matter, Hakeem Olajuwon, a popular Nigerian basketballer during his days, he came back. When he come back like this during festive period, there's one thing he used to do: organize more like a seminar for the young kids that love basketball, open up, establish a basketball court for them. He go to Lagos, he has that. In Ibadan, he has that, and that foundation is running, up and running even as we speak right now. So I think for me it's very, very simple. Just like when he met with the governor of Ogun State, courtesy of his visit, the governor of Ogun State made it very clear he's going to build boxing facilities, that actually can also be used to groom the talent. So for me, Attorney Joshua, duty here is very simple. Take a look at what you need to do for the state, for the country at large. What can you do? What will you? How do you come in? Establish maybe sport boxing training institute, at least, if not for the entire country, but take a look at the western state as well, to be precise. Maybe 3 or 4 states. Establish a boxing institute out there. It will help a lot, to also, bring forth very good boxers, because traditionally in the West, they enjoy boxing. I've stayed in Lagos, I've been in Ogun State, I've been in Osun State, I've been in Ibadan, to be precise. So I take a look at it. I think the Yorubas, in quotes, they love boxing very well and they are good at it. So for me, I think this is where Anthony Joshua should kickstart. Maybe, like I said earlier, charity, they say, begins at home. Establish boxing training centers across, possibly not across all the country, but in few states that you feel that, is going to help them a lot. And also, meet with the Boxing Federation of Nigeria. Try to also give them professional advice on how these things is being done, in over there in Europe, and why they do what they do and how they get the results. These are basic information that it might be common, but it's very, very instrumental towards helping our administrators as well to, giving their best. I think these are things that you need to do. Collaborate with the Boxing Federation of Nigeria, then find a way of establishing Boxing Foundation, so that the upcoming kid that, are probably looking up to him can also say, oh, this is Anthony Joshua Boxing Institute, and they are going to benefit a lot. These are things that I think is going to do to also help the cause of the development of the game right here in the country.
Help the development of the game right here in the country, and of course a lot to talk about. We're going to short break now. When we come back, we'll delve into football matters here on Sports Talk this morning. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. Just one day after 1st of January 2025, and of course we're coming better and hotter to dish out everything sports for you. Yes, for you. All right, let's talk tennis now. And not a very good news this time around because former U.S. Open champion Emma Raducanu pulled out of the Auckland Classic on Tuesday with a back, what they call back niggles, like back injury, and in a blow to her Australian Open preparations. Emma Raducanu will now fly back to Melbourne to begin rehabilitation ahead of the first year major starting January 12th. And so the big question is, will she meet up?
I think for me it's quite disappointing hearing of this news, because heading to the new season and you're getting injury while other players have rested enough, had good time with their family, then hitting back to the training, gym to also get themselves ready for the new season ahead, and you are having such back niggles where the season is just about to kick off. I think for me it's quite disappointing. I feel for Emma Raducanu, but the big question, can she be able to meet up before the time to come back? I think it's quite difficult. Even if she gets to meet up and comes back, there's no way you compare her form with those of some of the players that have been very fit and have been training very hard. So it will take her miles away to be able to catch up with other players, who had no injury heading into the season. But injury, they say, part of the game, but I tell you at this point, it's not very good news for Emma Raducanu. But let's hope that, his physicians and doctors are going to do their professional job to ensure that at least she regain full fitness, right on time, so that she can be back on the court.
Back on the court, meanwhile, Novak Djokovic and Nigrikos were knocked out of the men's double in the second round at the Brisbane International after narrow defeat by top-seeded pair Nikola Mektic and Michael Venus. Are you surprised that the both of them could not stand the firepower of this deal?
I wasn't surprised for me because Kyrgios wasn't 100% fit, heading into that game. So I knew it that at some point it was going to be a trouble for Novak Djokovic, because if your partner is not 100% fit, it simply means that the bulk of the work
is on one man,
is relying on you, and you can't be doing the job of two men, only you alone, because if your second or your partner is not that fit, it becomes a very big problem. So for me, I wasn't surprised that they were knocked out. Then again, for Novak Djokovic, he's pursuing his 25th Grand Slam, and it could be understandable, it could be excusable that sometimes he just want to be focused. Why? Because he's pursuing a goal, and his plan here is to be selective. Don't be serious in some of the game that you know
no matter too much to your target.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we've seen it in time past. There is this techniques that you normally adopt, that when he's eyeing a major trophy, he skips some games, just because you want to prepare for example, the Olympic medals was the only trophy that was missing in his cabinet. What happened? He had a very bad season, not bad season per se, but he was very deliberate. We saw him skipping some games just to get
big games that ordinarily he should, and that affected his preparation for major Grand Slams.
Exactly. So, and you saw when he got to the Olympic, it was a different Novak Djokovic.
Gave all.
Yeah.
And then even was it Alcaraz that got to the finals with him?
Yeah.
Couldn't stop him, and Alcaraz was on fire going into that particular tournament. So, ordinarily, a lot of people would have felt that Alcaraz should win it. And he has lost to Alcaraz few in one of the finals even. So, like I said, he was very intentional in his approach.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess that's some of the reason why they had to be knocked out of the competition. But I expect much from Novak Djokovic this season, because he wants to make a mark for him. He has already made a mark for himself, but then he wants to push further to create an undented and unstoppable record that will stand the test of time if he gets to win his 25th Grand Slam.
And this is a double.
Yeah.
So he can still be in the singles.
True.
So now that they've been hosted out in the doubles, hopefully, except he enrolled only in the doubles, where he just wanted to see how to test his strength and see what is happening. We have a lot of pre-Australian Open tournament ongoing, the Auckland Open and the Brisbane International. These are two major tournaments that are ongoing in preparation for the first Grand Slam of the season. But let's see how that lightens up. Away from that, let's talk about the Nigerian Premier Football League now, and of course the chairman of the Nigerian Premier Football League side, Sunshine Stars, Bamidele Olungoluwa, has insisted that he wants the team back in its original base in Akure. The Akure Township Stadium is currently undergoing renovation, and Sunshine Star has been playing their home game away from home. The team is presently playing their home game at the Remo Stars Stadium in Ikene, Ogun State. Not a bad idea, but then it's beyond just verbal expressions. It is putting the needful and encouraging the project managers to deliver on their mandate.
Playing at your home turf, you seem to have a little bit of advantage because your home fans will be there to cheer their teams to victory. But playing away from your home ground sometimes could be very, devastating. Why? Because on a match day, the stadium somehow is very scanty, isolated. Why? Because the home fans were not there in their numbers because it was not their home ground. Sometimes distance, again, is another factor that could also dwindle or, stop the home fans from coming down to a neutral ground to watch their darling team. It takes extra passion before, for you, example here, if you are living close to at Dokia Masemaka Stadium, maybe you're living close to the airport and Rivers United is playing game, it is always easier for you to stroll in there seamlessly, get to watch Rivers United play. But if you are staying far from, Dokia Masemaka Stadium, it become very taxful. You talk about the expenses they are going to pay to board a cab down there, it's another, issue that is going to limit you as a Rivers United fan, that you are staying up downtown, the main town, and you want to pay transport.
So it's not like moving from an end to the other end, which so there's no middle ground where okay, you calculate if I move from here to maybe from here to Gowan Stadium, it's a one-way flow, one-way in. So this one you're going to move from town, Port Harcourt Township, for example, to the extreme end of Gruta to get to see which a lot of persons will not fancy that, and that affects a lot.
And that is why I say that it affects the fans from coming to watch their match. And if the players on the pitch are there, look around the stadium and see everywhere very scanty, or even probably not having more than 20 supporters in the stadium out there, it will not they won't be motivated to give their best. But the game of football, you tend to be more cautious, you tend to play with more agility, when you are having the fans cheering and supporting you, behind the stand out there. You give the players extra motivation to go out for all victory. So I agree with the coach. They should fast track the process of trying to renovate their stadium so that they come back to their home ground. Even though playing at home necessarily does not mean that you must get all 3 points. After all, we've seen some of the changes. The Nigerian Premier Football League, where teams go away from home these days to pick vital point, but then you still have that advantage in the Nigerian Premier Football League that if you're playing at their home ground, at least the fans can also help you to get a maximum or a positive result. That we cannot rule aside, but then I think for now it is what it is, and they need to deal with it until their stadium is properly fixed.
It is what it is, and away from that, the Chan Eagles will open training camp for next month's Chan in East Africa on Monday. The home-based Super Eagles will be properly focused for the tournament after the MPFL went back until on break until January 2025. The eliminated Accra Bas Ghana 3-1 on aggregate to qualify for the tournament proper, which will be hosted by Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. Nigeria are back in the competition after a 6-year spell. The delayed Chan will kick off on February 1st. And Mike, it looks like we're very intentional in this approach, and a lot of focus now. If the Super Eagles are not doing us well, now that we have gotten back with Chan, let's see what we can get from this particular one.
Exactly. I think a good one will picking the ticket against our neighbor and arch rivals, talking about the Black Galaxies of Ghana that have stopped us twice from attending the CHAN. I think it was a sweet victory. And I listened to the coach of the side as well, talking about the fact that he would also love to integrate other players into the squad as well, talking about the Nigerian, looking into the Nigerian league to select 1 or 2 players as well to also add or beef up that very squad. I'm very hopeful that, this time around that we've qualified, picking the ticket. I think we stand a better chance of going out there to do very well. But it also boils down to what, the interview that we had with, the Nigerian Premier Football League Board, chairman, talking about Benga Elegbeleye yesterday when he was, with us on the show, where you threw same question to him. Why has it become very difficult for Nigerian club side to go out there and make a mark, in the continent, especially after seeing Enyimba in 2003 to 2004 doing pretty well. Ever since then, it's become very difficult for our club side here to go out there and get a positive result. And he also, mentioned some of the factors he thinks is responsible for the poor show of the home-based, Eagles or the home-based players whenever we get to the continent. And I believe this time around, with the humongous budget of this year in terms of sport development, which stand at 94 point something billion naira, and a chunk of that money was also given to the NFF as well. We hope that that money will trickle down to different, footballing ecosystem, so that at least the home-based Eagles, which is can also benefit from it. Because if they are properly funded, if they are properly equipped, I tell you, they will certainly go out there and make a mark, because we know that Nigeria, we are talented. It's just that most times there are certain factors that limit us, from giving out our best. But you discover that when they go out there, get the proper equipment and the proper facilities to train with, we do very well. We do exploit. So I'm very hopeful that this time around, the CHAN Eagles is going to go out there and break that jinx.
CHAN Eagles will go out there and break that jinx. And there's no time anymore, but let's move over now to European scene, where we saw the game yesterday. Arsenal are taking a 3-1 win over Brentford. At first, it looked like Brentford are in for serious business at the community stadium, but clearly we saw that Arteta and his boys were different in their approach in the second half, and the rest they say is history, Mike.
Yeah, I think it was a sweet victory for Arsenal, coming from a goal down against Thomas Frank's side that are always very energetic. We're coming up against the big boys. It was a great one. Mbuemo put Brentford ahead in just 13 minutes of play. It took the lead, but Arsenal were able to rally back into the game when Kai Havertz, no, Gabriel Jesus, drew level to make it 1-1, and Moreno and other players also finished. Moreno and Martinelli completed the comeback to actually gift Arsenal that 3 point. And I think for me, it was a deserving one for Arsenal. But the major highlight in that game is about Bukayo Saka's absence, and then Nwaneri coming in, to hold it down for Bukayo Saka, and for me, it did extremely
well. Yeah, exactly. And let's talk about him, because a lot of eye were on him. We saw how he was rigmaroling the defenders, in that flank, and he may not be as flexible and what will I say, as commanding as Bukayo Saka is, but it takes me back to when Bukayo Saka started playing for Arsenal, and the level of consistency that we've seen from him. I just look at the young man and I feel that, okay, this man can also make such difference if given time to play.
I think he needs to be given more time, and this is the right time, because now that Saka is out injured, he is the right player that naturally should also step into that shoe. If not 100% leg for leg replacement, but at least you can see a bit of the Saka skills and movement out there in that right wing. So for me, I think this is the time for him to seize the opportunity and take the bull by the horn. do what you know how to do best. Keep fighting that even if Saka comes back, there will be this need for you to also be given opportunities in 1 or 2 games out there to start. So for me, and that is what it means for you to have squad depth. You need to have players, you know, that we say like for like replacement, that if Mr. A is not there, Mr. B that is coming to deputize will certainly give something similar to what Mr. A, you know, gives out there. So for me, I think it is the right opportunity for you know, the young lad to also showcase his talent. Now that Bukayo Saka is out injured, Arsenal was considering the idea of trying to get a temporary replacement, to more like a cover up for Bukayo Saka. But I think for me, there will be no need for that. They should trust in this young lad, talking about you know, Nwaneri, and let him continue to, you know, hold it down until Bukayo Saka is back.
Mike, I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about when we come back later this evening, but this is where we'll drop anchor now. Hopefully, we'll come back to look at some of the issues, its transfer period, you know, everywhere, and so we'll have more time to really look at what is happening. Salah, Liverpool, contract issues, is there a way forward? But many thanks to you, Mike, for being part of the conversation this morning.
Always a pleasure doing this with you.
Ekpo Temple is my name, and we'll say, we'll take a halt now. Hopefully, we'll be back again tomorrow, same time here on Atlantic Television Network for more conversation. But then, don't forget to join us this evening. 6 p.m. is the time when we'll come back for Sports Extraordinary. Until then, have a blissful day. You see the New Year edition of our shows. You don't want to miss that for anything. Continue to stick with us on Atlantic TV Network.